Hello there, it is 2020 second quarter results time for Volition RX. Last time I spoke to the company, there were lots of exciting developments going on, so joining me down the line is the CEO, Cameron Reynolds. Cameron, I gather the team are well during these challenging times, and we'll talk about COVID-19 in a moment, but first of all, just put us in the picture on the financial results.
Yes, Nick, we have spent a lot of effort during this quarter strengthening our balance sheet to make sure we're in a very strong financial position, given the choppy, uncertain waters at the moment and everything going on worldwide. One of the key things we could do to mitigate the issues with COVID is make sure we have a strong cash position and a very strong balance sheet. And I'm extremely happy to be able to report that has been achieved through this last quarter. We finished with just over $21 million in the bank, and that was thanks in large part to a fundraise we did a couple of months ago for a gross $13.8 million. And also, today I can announce we've also activated our ATM and been using it a bit in the last couple of months to further strengthen the balance sheet. And that was just over $6 million done, given the very high volumes we've seen in the stock. Thanks to all the work we've been doing and being on the Russell Index, we thought it was the right time to make sure we had enough capital to be able to spend on many different things and many different products we're launching. So if you add up the money from the ATM plus the fundraise and what we had left, it was over $26 million we have, which is a very strong financial position compared to where we were last quarter at the end at 12 million.
Okay, thanks for that. I mentioned in our introduction that we are still in pandemic mode in different parts of the world. I gather the team have been doing very well, but maybe you could update us and also explain what's happening to the day-to-day operations of Volition.
Nick, it has been a challenge, obviously, during COVID. And first of all, most importantly, I'll just discuss our team. We've kept distanced, and our new facility in Belgium, well, I guess it's 2 years old now, but our facility thankfully is a very large one, so we could keep operations going there and keep everyone distanced. So that was very good. And we've stayed very on target with our milestones and kept everything going. But I think we'd have to put things into two categories. Everything internally, we've, I think, responded extremely well. And you'd have to say been lucky at some level that no one that we know of has developed COVID. And in Belgium, we could keep our facility open. So it has been working at full steam during this whole period. But unfortunately, other groups we work with have not been as fortunate as we are. So there have been definitely some supply chain issues. So we've tried to mitigate that several ways. We've got several suppliers for all the key components. And we're looking to produce as much as we can internally to give us a low-cost option and also a secure supply. To that end, we've been very active also in thinking how we can guarantee our supply chain and drive early revenue through the key components, the reagents, if you will. If you remember, there's only really two key components to our tests, the antibodies and the controls. We purchased Optima in January, which gives us the background to develop the controls. And we've been developing a lot of antibodies externally, which we can bring in-house now. So I'm very happy to announce we've just put in an offer on a facility just down the road from our one in Belgium, which is 10,000 square feet, so very large. And being in Belgium where it is, extremely good value. It was 580,000 euros for 10,000 square feet. And again, we expect to get loans and government assistance, so it should be very, very cost effective. And what this allows us to do is several incredibly important things. Number one, we have our own access to our supply chain, but also allows us to drastically reduce the cost of goods. Producing them in large quantities yourself can bring down the cost of goods absolutely massively. And that's something we're very keen to do, obviously, as we launch products. What it also allows us to do is two other things. We've talked about the research market a lot. That's obviously plate-based, but we're looking to do a contract research lab where we can offer our services to a lot of other researchers to profile nucleosomes. And also, Optima did manage to make some sales of nucleosomes, and we could do a combination of that from our new facility. So we're hiring a new development and salesperson in Belgium to really help drive the revenue from those different sources. And we'll look to do the build out over the summer and move in October, where we can start producing some things internally, and we aim to have it fully certified throughout next year.
Inevitably, though, COVID-19 has created opportunities, including for companies like your own, because you've been developing your Nu.Q technology to be able to assess patients once they are diagnosed with COVID-19 and maybe are admitted to hospital, on how severe their symptoms are likely to be and therefore what treatment they're going to need. What's the latest on this particular process?
Yeah, absolutely. COVID is an opportunity as well as a threat, and we're very positive, forward thinkers at Volition, and we would look to see how we could help. And the way that we came across we could help best, apart from all the other work we're doing, is through a prognostic test, which is really quite unique, and ours fits our platform, low cost, easy to use. And just to reiterate, this is our prime focus is always going to be on our core platform and the trials we're running in the cancer. But with the same assays, our assays detect nucleosomes, and it is now known that the major cause of death from COVID, as well as pneumonia and a lot of other conditions, are a build-up of netosis, which are formed of nucleosomes. So exactly the same platform, it shows the breadth and stability and usefulness of our platform. We've utilized to see if we can be a prognostic test. It doesn't tell you if you have COVID. There are a lot of tests that do that, but tells you the very important question: if you have it and you're in hospital, are you one of the very unfortunate people who will end up in intensive care in a lot of trouble, particularly with their lungs, due to build-up of netosis, which are made up of nucleosomes, or you can be fine and go home. So we've had 2 levels of the studies done now. First of all, was extremely encouraging. We had 98.7% accuracy in healthy versus COVID, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for COVID versus COVID, whether you're going to progress to a bad situation or not. The next level of the trial, we just submitted a paper for, and that is where you can see if you are going to progress to serious conditions. Now, I can very happily say the data we have now, the level of nucleosomes are closely correlated with disease severity. So it gets a much higher level of nucleosomes build up in your blood when you're very, very sick. So that's extremely encouraging. The next level now, which is what we're doing, is to try to launch a product in the European Union, in Asia, and in the US. So in the European Union, we've identified a very good retrospective set of samples, which if we get and run and it's successful, we could launch a CE mark product this year for COVID, and hopefully in the future for other viruses which have the same mechanism, such as influenza. And in the US, we're negotiating now a proper prospective full study for FDA approval for the emergency use authorization. And we'll give details on that if and when we finalize that trial as well.
Okay, so good that momentum in the business has been maintained. Just update us on any clinical developments and also on the trials that you've been conducting.
The real benefit of having a good 6 or 7 irons in the fire, if you will, is you can move forward on different things at different times as things change in different countries. So we've been very aggressively moving on the veterinary side, where we still are aiming to launch product this year. And that's something, again, which I think we can launch during a COVID pandemic. We've done a lot of work on the COVID product, as I mentioned before. And we're looking to do work on the cancer triage, which is also in the earnings call. We have 3 different cancer triage potential products. But I think the big marquee trials we talked about for the screening process, the US one currently is paused, which is perfectly understandable. They're not collecting samples now in the US for any trials that I'm aware of. The Taiwanese trials, again, we've done our internal side, I think, very, very well. And the Taiwanese have done an excellent job at continuing collection, which is very unusual at the moment. So we've run our 8 assays through that population in the lung trial. It's now with them, and they're hoping to release the data at the next conference they can. And also we're running more and more assays throughout this period. But I think it's very important to remember, we've absolutely stuck to our targets for assay development and developing the different tests. We had a target of 12 assays by the end of June, and we've actually got 13. So everything we can do internally to make sure we have the assays and run the assays, absolutely the milestones are being kept. So all in all, we're working as flexibly as we can on as many things as we can. and really spring out of the crisis once everything is fully opened up again.
Now, the last time we spoke, you'd had 3 publications accepted at ASCO. That is the annual conference of the world's largest organisation for oncology professionals. I gather now you're publishing more papers, including some in the vet space.
Publications are extremely important to us. Obviously, in publications, you're giving away everything, but we're very happy with our intellectual property now. And now we have a very wide range being prepared and now submitted as well. So we're aggressively looking to publish in our cancer work, in the capture programs, and also, as you said, in our vet work. And there's a paper submitted now on the pre-analytics, which is the launch of all the basics, and 2 oral presentations have been accepted to the VCS in October on the data itself. And it really helps us with the product launches we aim beginning at the end of this year in the vet space, which again, we think we can do during the pandemic.
So in conclusion, Cameron, what you seem to be saying is that evidence to support Volition's technology is growing through strong data and, of course, more and more publications. So finally, give us a view on what you think will be happening over the next quarter and perhaps in the longer term.
Nick, absolutely right. I think we're making fantastic progress and controlling all the things we can control ourselves during the pandemic. Our assay development program has been absolutely fantastic. We've gone I think what we're really looking to do now, apart from publish and trial results, are actual products. And we've identified 4 key areas where we can really launch products during the pandemic. First of all, the vet, as we talked about. Second of all, I've talked about the triage products, including the cancers and the COVID. We're also looking to do licensing. We've talked about a lot of opportunities to license our products. And also with the facility, we put an offering out. It's going to become our hub for producing nucleosomes and controls, which will bring down the cost of our assays themselves, we expect by a lot, but also allow us to start marketing the key components for all the other things which nucleosomes and antibodies are useful for. So I think with our very strong balance sheet now, given the many opportunities we have going, we can really become a success during COVID and really bring it home on the very large trials and those large products in the next couple of years. And I'd like to again thank our shareholders for their fantastic support during the fundraise, thank our team for all their amazing work during the COVID pandemic, and I think it'll be a very exciting 12 months for us, so please keep an eye out.
Well, we will see if those predictions come through. Exciting times at Volition. Cameron Reynolds, Chief Executive, thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you, everyone.